emergency education officials following embezzlement of estimated $1.6 million of donor funds. Stay with us here on News 360. We've got the details of these stories and much more news. You could watch us on DSTV channel 279, 3news.com, as well as TV3 Ghana on Facebook.
Absolutely. And I'll go on to our first story this evening, where managers of Accra Mall have closed portions of its stores after part of the ceiling of its electronic shops caved in Thursday morning. 3 Nigerian shoppers were reported to have sustained varying degrees of injury and currently receiving treatment at the mall clinic.
The incident was reported to have occurred at about 11:53 Thursday morning when lots of shoppers were in the shops. Most shoppers fled for their lives, but luck eluded some. The 3 Nigerian shoppers who survived the incident are reported to be responding to treatment. Areas of the mall closed include the eye store, among others. Officials from the National Disaster Management Organization and the police were present to commence investigation into the cause of the incident and also to ensure law and order. Marketing manager of the Accra Mall, Denise Asare, expressed confidence the shop will bounce back to business.
Our team are working very hard with all public organizations to ensure a quick and smooth clear up of the mall. We can confirm that parts of the mall are fully operational, such as the food court and the shops on the entrance 2 side of the mall. So that includes ShopRite, Vlisco, Woodin and its sisters and brothers. At the moment, the cause of the collapse is unknown, but more details shall follow as soon as we get the full reports as to why the ceiling did collapse.
Prior to this incident, was there any issue about maintenance or was there any technical fault?
No comment.
Director in charge of geological disaster at NADMO, Richard Amoyate, assured the public investigations would be expedited to allow for quick resumption of operations.
If the report suggests that other parts of the structure would have been impacted upon, then we could order for a general assessment of the integrity of the entire roofing of the mall. The police is also investigating to see if there's any criminal element connected.
Meanwhile, security has been beefed up at the mall.
Well, definitely a very worrying situation that occurred there at the Accra Mall earlier today, certainly raising the issue of the maintenance culture just generally. Now, President Akufo-Addo has spoken on this issue via Twitter. He says, "I am disturbed to hear of the incident at the Accra Mall. Let us all work together to improve our maintenance culture and speedy recovery to the injured." Now, as we know, 3 Nigerians who were shopping there were said to have actually sustained various degrees of injury, and the management of the mall has mentioned that that particular area will be closed for the period. The issue of the maintenance culture countrywide is certainly one that needs to be probed further in this particular development, Alfred.
Absolutely, and I'm going to stay the same on maintenance. And the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana National Authority, Professor Adodo, is joining me here in the studio to have a discussion on this. Prof, thank you very much for your time this evening. Now, you heard the lady. I mean, we're concerned about maintenance. We asked when the last time the place was maintained, and we're told no comments. There's supposed to be a group, I mean, from the fire service or other agencies conducting periodic maintenance of such facilities in conjunction with yourself as well. Is it going on effectively?
Actually, Alfred, I would probably take us one step back, because I think the first question to ask is that before you maintain something, you must have put it up to the integrity required.
Absolutely.
Now, up till May this year, when the Standards Authority passed on behalf of the government of Ghana and the Ministry of Roads and Highways, we never had, as a country, a comprehensive building code.
There was no comprehensive building
code? We've never had one. There were.
So what kind of structural integrity analysis was being done on buildings that were built in this country?
Well, that was the gap. So what has been happening was that the Building and Road Research Institute, since '88, has had bits and pieces, like, you can fix this bit this way. So it was a worry, and about 2 years ago, the nation thought, no, without building code, you cannot even enforce building regulations.
Absolutely.
So that process started with support from the IFC, got completed in April. In May, the Standards Authority got it gazetted. So for the first time ever, Ghana now has a building code, and all 1,400 pages of it, which specifies everything about a building. Now the next step to ask is that we have a problem here. But whether there is a problem or not, I think the first thing to say is that, will this building, if subjected to the requirements of the code, stand it? If it doesn't, should it be allowed to keep working as it is, even if it's already existing? Because the code was passed to clarify what is required for a building, for the lift, for electricity, fire safety, flood, I mean, just name it, from the soil to the top.
Okay, but see, we've had a number of structural defects in this country that's led to collapse of buildings, and Malcolm is very fresh in our minds, even though it's been quite a while now. Okay, if we have this and we have it enough to reflect, how come that the structural integrity of public buildings of such nature where Ghanaians go there? Imagine if this had happened on a weekend.
Yep.
The impact would have been different. Why did implementation of it over this period been that missing?
What I would say on behalf of the Standards Authority, but also on the country, is that generally there has been a laissez-faire attitude. I mean, how many public buildings have any certificate to indicate that it has been tested before occupancy? How many public buildings? And I'm not referring to government buildings. Any building which has, which is open to the public for use. I beg to say that we will find few. But what we have said, and already the Standards Authority has started offering that service, saying that if there is a building that the public is going to occupy, it should have a certificate indicating that it's fit for use by the public. We have actually, as we speak, and the Ministry of Road and Highways is aware, and they are supporting, we have told them that make this a law.
So will this law take retrospective effect, as in those buildings that have been built and this law was absent, now that it's come to effect after June, would you now go and check the structural integrity of the existing buildings that have been built already?
What we would expect is both the Ministry of Road and Highways as well as the local authorities saying that, yes, we never had a comprehensive act, now we have it. This is a building that will be occupied on a daily basis. It has to be tested. And if it does not meet the requirements, across an earthquake zone, and if it doesn't meet the requirements and we're saying that it's an old building, there's nothing like a legacy building. It has to be fortified to meet the requirements, or else the national authorities have to take a decision. But I don't think it would be acceptable to say that, well, this building is 200 years old, the law was passed in 2018, so let it stay. Because we have too many ideas. We have buildings sinking. So it's not just the Malcolm issue.
Certainly. So let's go. Still stay with me, Prof, because there's another issue which falls within your domain, where the Consumer Protection Agency, CPI, yesterday threatened to take legal action against the Standards Authority if they fail to release reports on its investigations on companies which have flouted some standards regulations.
You and I have paid him to be our watchdog. So as an institution, maybe not just him personally, but as an institution, the obligation is to let the people of Ghana know the results or the findings as to who is flouting the law, so that I, a consumer person, when there's business number 1 and business number 2, and I know that business number 2 is the one who has the inferior goods, why would I go there? In 7 working days, if the Standard Authority does not come out to give us any tangible reason as to why they cannot release the names, CPA will go to court to seek the guidance of the court to force Professor Dodu to release the names. Time has come, we should do name and shame. The condoning of people who are killing Ghanaians. The condoning of people who are flouting our laws.
That's Kofi Kapito, the Chief Executive Officer of the Consumer Protection Agency. So that's to you, Professor Alex Odu. In 7 days, you have to release the names. I mean, I remember you said this some time ago. What's taking you so long in releasing these names?
I've heard nothing that's taken us long. We had an interview on CTFM and stated that our market surveillance, which we did in last year, August, it was a small sample. We have extended it and we have enough cause to be worried. Now, some dealers will say that the number of cables which are failing are 50% as opposed to the 80 to 90 that we stated. Be that as it may, even if it's 20%, it's not acceptable. So we stated last week that we have the numbers. We are just seeking advice from our lawyers to move forward. There's something I think we have mentioned to Kofi Kapito. We have received this letter and we don't think there's anything to worry about. Why? Our job is to protect consumers and promote trade. That is what we are doing.
You're going to release the names within 7 days as
we would absolutely release everything. What we said is that it's not just doing the right things, but doing things rightly. Because at the end of the day, rushing to just name and shame people without having confirmed. But we will tell him this. For us, it's not just an issue of cracking the whip. It's an issue of making Ghanaians realize that state institutions do work. I mean, it is sometimes very irritating working in the state institution and people saying that things don't work. Things do work, and we will make that difference. That is a promise. He gave us 7 days. We received a letter yesterday. We're replying to him tomorrow. But I think the two of us, when I say the two of us, the Consumer Protection Agency and the Standards Authority are here for the same thing. So for us, we really don't see any difficulty.
Because you see, in the end, the person who's watching us just goes to the market innocently, goes to buy, hoping that what he or she is buying in the mall or in the shops or in the market is standardized, hoping that you have done your job well. But in this case, if you know names of people, companies that are producing unstandardized or goods that have not been standardized, then there is a problem somewhere. So they have a concern to raise. Ghanaians can't identify products that have not been standardized.
What we have decided to do, and that has been public knowledge already, was that the issue is beyond, we use the word beyond a crisis. It is that bad. So what we said first and foremost we will do, which we have done, was that we were listing on our website. Admittedly, not everybody can go to a website, all products that have been registered. But secondly, for us, it's not just naming and shaming. For us, as we speak, and the state authorities will tell you, we said we need to confiscate those products. So before you go ahead naming and shaming for people to hide the products, because most of the sellers really were not the people who imported. Huge quantities are actually in warehouses. And you need to decide with CID and others to move it forward. So we are showing Kofi and the nation through your medium that in less than the time he is proposing,
you will release the names.
We will definitely do that.
Thank you very much. Professor Alex Odo is the Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Standards Authority. There, wait for the names. But away from that, the coalition of bonded nurses and midwives is giving government a 2-week ultimatum to give them postings or risk picketing at the Jubilee House. The nurses say they completed training in 2016 and have since not received financial clearance from the Finance Ministry through the Health Ministry.
The disgruntled nurses say they completed training in 2016 and have since not been posted. They recall a commitment by the Ministry of Health to secure financial clearance for them, but has not been done. They have asked the sector ministry to facilitate their employment or risk picketing at the Jubilee House. President of the group, Daniel Obo, said the delay in employing them is affecting their skills.
Our knowledge and skills gained during the period of training are kept under lock, which we take it as a serious situation that the entire nation must be worried about. We are not able to further our education, nor wind down the years of promotion and study leave. Neither are we to be released off the band since countdown begins from the year of appointment by the government permanently.
He again asked President Nana Akufo-Addo to ensure their postings are done soon.
The silence on the part of the president gives us a clear indication that the petition did not get or did not reach him. Therefore, we have decided that members would march on the 29th of this very month, 2018, to the Jubilee House to present petition to the president ourselves, since the initial one has not been responded to yet.
The president of the Coalition of Allied Health Professionals, Bright Bell, alluded that the delay to post them has affected the workforce in the various health posts,
creating a whole lot of human resource deficit across the health facilities. This has also greatly contributed to the no-bed mantra. Working staffs are forced to forfeit their study leaves, their annual leaves. Patient to professional ratio keeps deteriorating by the day. Solidarity strike by our senior colleagues at home is still pending due to the appeal by the Honorable Minister of Health.
These bonded nurses have asked the Ministry of Health to be swift and save the over 7,800 nurses who are currently unemployed.
And some other news this evening. An Accra High Court has refused an application by Asin Central MP Kennedy Ejapong seeking to dismiss the 25 million cedis defamation suit against him by investigative journalist Anas Aremeyaw Anas. Now, the court maintained the writ by Anas does not violate in any way the constitutional rights of the legislator.
The court further held that no relevant legal argument have been provided to substantiate the claim. The Asin Central MP in his writ insisted the wearing of a mask and the cover-up of Anas's identity breached his constitutional rights under Article 33 of the 1992 Constitution. The court has, however, directed the investigative journalist to within 10 days furnish Kennedy Ejapon with a comprehensive address, adding the one provided is inadequate. The court also pointed out that Anas uses North Laboni Crescent, contrary to North Laboni Estate as used in a writ filed at the Supreme Court by Kwekubako, who also lives there. The court, on the other hand, directed the Asin Central Legislator to file a statement of defense within 14 days. Kennedy Ejapon filed an application for Anas's lawsuit to be dismissed, describing it as incompetent. He argued that Anas did not disclose his address and did not stay at the address provided, and finally, that the writ breached his constitutional right as a person.
Our citizen journalist Ahmed Tijani reports on abandoned bridge at Nabudugu, Boko in the Upper East region.
A few minutes after 7 and I am in Boko in the Upper East region, a community named Nabudugu. This is the major road and the major link of this particular area. And we can see students from various sectors finding it difficult to cross to school. Parents, guardians, as well as market women also find it as a major challenge to use this route whenever it rains heavily. Now, 2 years ago, this same bridge, due to the deteriorating nature of it, claimed the life of a pregnant woman. As we speak, as at last year, it claimed the life of a very young and ambitious student of Baptist and Glory International School. All effort to reach authorities to see that this problem is curbed has proved fertile. My name is Ahmed Tijani Marani, a citizen journalist reporting.
You can also send your video report to the MTN WhatsApp number 055-1433-044. That's 055-1433-044. Also live here on NEWS360. We're back with some business news to stay.
Welcome back to NEWS360. Let's get into the world of business now, starting off in the banking sector, as the former managing director of Alpha Capital Savings and Loans, Davis Yeboah, has revealed that the company was established on the wrong financial foundation, hence its liquidity problems. His explanation follows TV3's business reportage on the locked-up funds of the bank's customers.
The situation of customers of Alpha Capital Savings and Loans has seen no improvement since TV3 Business News reportage some weeks ago. Customers' deposits and investments are still locked up with the company and its doors closed, with its management nowhere to be found. The board chairman and owner of the Savings and Loans company is Samuel Etro. In an interview with the former managing director of the company, Davis Yeboah, who was managing director from January to July 2017, said he cannot explain the current state of development at the company and its relations with its customers.
The more reason why I took over was because there was a promise from the owner that he was getting some funding from Canada, $25 million, to which I saw communication. So I thought that was okay for me to be able to take over. But unfortunately, that never happened. That money never came before I left.
He said if customers want to find the owner and board chairman of the company, they could, because Samuel Etro is in town.
The best person to come and talk about this is the owner and maybe Isaac Asante. These are the two people I'm sure should be in a better position to explain what happened after I have left.
Where are they now? The customers say they are nowhere to be found.
Well, for Isaac, I don't even know. I don't have his number or anything for now. But for the owner, I'm sure if they want to find him, they should be able to find him. He's in town. He has other businesses, you know. So obviously when they go to his other businesses, they should be able to locate him.
Where are these other businesses?
I know he owns what's the FM station in Takwa. There is an FM station in Takwa, which he is the owner, and I'm sure, and I don't think he will be running away. Probably they haven't really looked for him.
The former MD explained he resigned from the company because of its poor financial health and also because the BOG refused to approve his appointment, as they associated him with the collapse of another savings and loans company, Express Savings and Loans.
On July 28th, in our board meeting, we got a letter from Bank of Ghana that they could not approve of my position because I had superintendent over Express, and Express was made bankrupt.
In all, the problem of locked up deposits and investment still persists. Customers cannot access it, and neither can they find the management.
We'll certainly be following up on developments there and bring you some more on it subsequently. But let's stay in the banking sector, as Managing Director of ARB Apex Bank, Kojo Mata, has lauded efforts by the Bank of Ghana to sanitize the banking and financial industry. Now, he noted
dam have been advised to relocate to higher ground as the Ghana Water Company Limited begins spilling excess water from the dam. The water level in the Wager Dam has gone beyond the maximum height, thus requiring an urgent spillage. We're told, meanwhile, the new Wager Municipal Assembly is considering building a reservoir downstream as a long-term solution.
This year spilled excess from the Wager Dam following severe inflow of water. In just 4 months, the water level has risen above the required maximum level, hence the need to spill excess water. At least one of the 5 spillways has already been opened in a bid to protect the structure of the dam from collapse. This action, as usual, may have dire consequences for residents downstream, especially those residing close to the river and in low-lying areas. News about the spillage caused the Chief Executive for the new Wager Municipality, Patrick Kumo, to visit the dam to assess the situation. It was observed that the water level of the dam was about 48 feet, a development that needs urgent spillage.
1 foot 6 inches high, which is also getting a lot of water into the community. So immediately we've asked the information van to go into the communities to create the awareness for people to move away from the boundaries of the river, so that at least we can, save the situation now.
Patrick Kumo and his team went round the spillway to observe the current spill of water. He said the assembly is considering an alternative measure that will turn excess water to useful purpose.
We having a reservoir to also, have these waters in is something which is being looked in the long term, and I believe moving forward, authorities will be sitting down, see the way forward.
The team again visited the area downstream where Patrick Kumo urged residents to relocate to protect their lives.
We are pleading with them to move away from the borders of the river, because in the coming days we believe these waters will be entering into homes that might create a lot of havoc.
He said a municipal task force in collaboration with the National Disaster Management Organization NADMO would demolish all structures along the river boundaries.
The current situation we have now, we're going to make sure those who are building on the boundaries or the borders of the river, we're going to get them off the way.
The assembly has also deployed an information van in the area to prompt residents about the impending danger and the need to relocate.
Now, scores of residents at Chado in the La Dade Kotopong municipality have been trapped in their homes following Thursday morning's downpour. Some residents have blamed the perennial trend to reckless development in the area.
The morning's rains lasted for close to an hour and posed a danger to many. At Chado in the La Dade Kotopong municipality, for instance, residents have had to battle with intense flooding. Most families were trapped indoors, while children could not go to school. Some families had their bedding wet from the flooding and spent the morning scooping water from their rooms. More than 4,000 people live in this part of the municipality, but improper planning, absence of drains and indiscipline on part of developers have left many to suffer each time it rains. Most homes are sited on waterways. Residents in this part of Chado have had to battle with intense flooding each time it rains heavily, simply because conduits that are supposed to facilitate flow of water to the Peshi Lagoon have been blocked.
Everyone is trying to protect his apartment, and it's affecting all of us. The water enter into rooms, destroy things. If you can't even get a place to stand.
Residents recently improvised to save themselves from the flooding, but that did not yield much results. La Dadekotopon Municipal Head of Works, Ben Debra, who blames the residents for the flooding, said the assembly has plans to redevelop the area.
The assembly has a plan, but the residents have not also helped us, because these debris being put here to block roads, they are aware. Anytime you come around to find out who put these debris here, they are not able to tell you. But there are people within the society or within the community who put these debris there to create problems for the entire populace.
Assemblyman for the Mantiasi Chado electoral area, Emmanuel Kwapon, affirms residents have initiated moves to solve the problem, but would need help.
In as much as the assembly is also trying to, bring more gutters into the community, we are doing what we can as community members to see what we can also do to help ourselves here. In other places, at the other side there, I meet with the people, those around that area, 1, 2, 3, 4 houses, then we contribute, then we create, gutter for ourselves. And that is what we wanted to implement here.
Stanley Nibleu, TV3 News, Chado, Ladma.
On the international front, the Zambian government has suspended more than 80 officials from the Ministry of General Education after an estimated $1.6 million of donor funds was allegedly embezzled. The state-owned Zambia Daily Mail newspaper says Acting Education Minister Vincent Wale told Parliament on Wednesday that the UK government, through the Department for International Development, DFID, has suspended funding to the ministry to pave the way for investigations. He said the funding will only resume after the system is cleaned up. The development comes after London-based journal Africa Confidential, which has recently been at the forefront, exposed alleged corruption and fraud in the Zambia, and also warned that there was a huge financial scandal brewing in the Ministry of Education in Zambia.
Well, there's more international news on 3
Absolutely, and you can go on to 3news.com to get some more international news. Let's go on to entertainment news now with Miriam.
Hi, Alfred. Hello there, my name is Miriam Osei Ajman. Let's do some entertainment news tonight. Now, Advice is filled with constant punchline. Rap heavyweight Sarkodie's song to dancehall star Shatta Wale provides the much-needed reality check for Shatta. Unowusu Arai's report Advice, made by Sarkodie, overlooks friendship, preaches common sense, and provides key branding lessons and tells some harsh but honest truth that Shatta has to hear.
Yeah. When a grim-faced Sarkodie sips a liquid from a glass of unknown colorless content and gives a grim again, then the content couldn't be mere water. But that's a debate for another day.
Yeah, me on this beat, it go cause you some damages.
Bottom line is, in Advice, King Sark did spill blunt and jabbing lyrics.
No brand no be strong enough. If you be strong, keep quiet. You go soon come out and stay mute. 1 year's there full support. You show one day you go show. The last thing where I want be attention. The whole of Africa didn't with the dimension. We didn't with the to me my attention. That I'm in trouble branding and my compensation.
Shatta Wale, who earlier took a swipe at Sarkodie, was served a perfect reply.
Honestly, your whole back account don't fit by you 1 year rubber vote, but you claiming supremacy.
To King Sark, Shatta Wale is a braggart who should learn to shush up and not claim supremacy. The spirited rapper from Tema also jabbed Shatta Wale, advising him to stop wearing aluminium chains.
Jai illumination akoche cube Jai illumination akoche cube links. Paul and one man them the fame and for phone. Brand no be strong enough. If you be strong, keep quiet. You go soon come out and stay new.
Sarkodie also thinks Shatta Wale's brand is not strong enough, a reason he's always seeking attention. The rapper also notes 5 years after bouncing back, Shatta Wale is still scared and not confident of himself.
Confidence is where you're able to compliment people without you feeling insecure. So if you feel say you got it, no need to downplay the next man who's shown on a fear. Ultimate confidence, the brand be solidified. That be why my love be pure.
Next, King Sack provided some wisdom and key branding lessons to solidify his brand. The bottom line is, King Sack wants Shatta Wale to focus as time is gradually running out on him.
New money, new car, new house, so you can't think far. But time is running out with a race bar. Cause after some time, that will fame car. Nobody go get time for you. So you will see the way you they approach it. How many times am I catch up with also? Send your way and in your know the need. But to I see a film, no minimum is also. But wouldn't how you get love on the streets? Your soul is tormented.
But hey, despite the jabs and fierce punchlines, Shatta appears least perturbed. Yes, the song is the talk of town, but many are still wondering what the content of the glass could be. That liquid content did charge King Sack very well.
And of course, this song is not going away anytime soon. But what's in Sarkodie's glass, really?
Well, it's water.
Water, wine. Okay,
Yeah.
white wine, maybe.
Possibly.
Okay.
Unless it's something else. Great stuff. You know, beef is good, they say, for the industry. But
it helps.
It shouldn't get too much.
Yeah,
you know. But we want to thank you very much, so much for staying with us here on News 360. As always, on behalf of the rest of the team, we're grateful. My name is Alfred.
I'm Natalie Fort. Visit our website 3news.com for some more news. Thanks so much for watching and have a remarkable evening.